Hi everyone, I'm Alex and I'm living with active hyperthyroidism and Graves' disease. Graves' disease is an autoimmune condition whereby the immune system mistakenly attacks the thyroid, leading to excess thyroid hormones production. I got diagnosed about 2 months back and I've been taking Thyroxol every day to reduce the production of thyroid hormones T3 and T4. But that actually doesn't solve the root cause, which is an overactive immune system. What I'm trying to do is to remove sources of inflammation from my everyday life to calm down my immune system. And a big part of it is via diet and gut health. If you have food allergies, you will understand this. Let's say you eat something that's bad for you, you run to the toilet or you start to have rashes or breathing difficulty. All these are symptoms of your immune system working for you. And because my immune system is already overactive, I do not want to trigger it further, which is why I have to eat foods that are right for me to reduce this autoimmune response. I didn't know anything about Graves' disease before the diagnosis, and when I started the research, I was flooded with so much information. There are many advices out there on the internet, and some of them can be conflicting, even within the same article. Like, for example, whether red meat is good for you or bad for you. And personally, I'm also someone with an Asian palate. I like my Asian foods. Many Graves' disease recipes out there on the internet tend to gear toward a Western diet, like for example, eating lots of salads. Some people also do a keto or paleo diet, which may not be so appealing to me because I like my rice. If you are going through the same thing, here are what I learned so far and what I do to adopt to a Graves' disease friendly diet. So just sharing ahead, I'm not a medical professional. These are not medical advice. These are just what I've learned so far in my journey with Graves' disease. What I want to talk about are foods which may aggravate Graves' disease that my doctor did not mention to me. I will also skip over foods which are rich in iodine, for example, seaweed and shellfish, because they can further stimulate thyroid hormone production. When I was diagnosed, my doctor advised me to stop taking those foods, and if you are a Graves' disease sufferer, your doctor will have advised the same. So it goes without saying that we should not take those foods. The number one food to cut out for me are spicy foods. I love my spicy foods. Mala, tom yum, sambal, you name it. As I grow older, I do notice that my spice tolerance decreases. So my mouth can take the spices, but my bowels cannot. Despite that, I continue to eat spicy food. I love the Korean samyang spicy chicken noodles. It's amazing. I'll eat them to distress and deal with the consequences later on. At one point, I had at least one stomach issue every week, so that's not great. When I was diagnosed with Graves' disease, I know that there's one food that I have to cut out from my diet for my gut health. It was challenging, but super effective. I have only had one stomach episode since, and it was because I ate something which are not so fresh. But otherwise, I'm good. One time I miss spicy food so much. I asked the hawker store auntie to give me tom yum not spicy. She gave me half the usual amount of tom yum in my soup, and I love it. I savor it. It's good. It's a little bit spicy, and my stomach can tolerate it. When I go out with my friends to malatang, for example, I only ordered non-spicy soups. These foods are not so good for my palate, but they are definitely very good for my stomach and gut health. The second type of food I cut out are dairy products. Before the diagnosis, I already know that I don't do well with dairy milk. I get phlegmy every time I drink dairy milk and will need to clear my throat. Milk from some cafes also send me to the toilet, so I learned to avoid them. However, I do love my ice cream and cheeses, and my body can tolerate them. Many gave up dairy when they are diagnosed with Graves' disease, as dairy can be inflammatory, especially if you are lactose intolerant. For me, it is not so challenging to give up dairy products because I was already drinking non-dairy milk before the diagnosis. Except, I cannot drink my Milo anymore. All Milos, including the sugar-free version, have milk as an ingredient. Trust me, I've checked. Milo is my comfort drink. So what do? I will heat up some soy milk and put 100% cocoa powder in it to simulate a Milo drink. It does not taste anything like Milo. If you know any grave disease friendly alternative to Milo, please do let me know. I used to drink a lot of coffee at work, especially on days when I have poor sleep. I also took other stimulants like green tea and ginseng to stay awake. I have to stop all this because with Graves' disease, I have an elevated heart rate. I'm actually taking beta blockers on some day to reduce the heart palpitation. Therefore, it's definitely a good idea for me to cut out caffeine. I used to drink Coke Zero almost every day and I have to cut it out as well because of the caffeine. At first, I thought that I would be so tired without coffee, but after a few days, I'm actually feeling quite fine and I'm functioning normally. I'm quite grateful because I got Graves' disease when I'm relatively younger and my body can adapt quickly. When it comes to feeling tired, some people take naps to restore their energy. However, that doesn't work for me. I usually wake up groggy and tired from short naps. So I just accept that during certain period of a day, I will be unproductive. So instead of trying to force work through, I learn to just go for walks or eat some snacks and wait for my energy to return, and it almost 100% does. Speaking of snacks, of course I'm going to talk about refined sugar. I bet you already know that sugar is bad for you. It is especially bad for Graves' disease because oftentimes Graves' disease and insulin resistance go hand in hand. Before the diagnosis, I was losing a lot of weight and I didn't know the reason. So I thought I was on a holiday and I can eat anything that I want and I will not gain weight. So I just ate all the pastries and chendol and had a great time. Right now, I'm on a sugar-free diet, but it's not 100% because there are sugar hidden in many food. For example, the other day I found out that chicken stock from some companies contain sugar. Sugar can also be hidden in the ingredient list such as maltose and syrup. These are all sugar. I try my best to avoid sugar, but it's not going to be perfect. What's really difficult for me on a sugar-free diet is that I cannot eat chocolate when I'm having period cramps. It took me some time, but I found this sugar-free chocolate to save me when I'm on my period. It has a compound called maltitol, a sugar alcohol, to make it sweet. If you research on maltitol, it's not healthy as well, but at least it's not sugar. I'll be sticking to my sugar-free chocolate for now. Gluten is known for causing leaky guts, so many people remove gluten from their diet. I don't actually feel bad when eating gluten, unlike spicy food or milk, so it's a bit challenging for me to remove it from my diet. However, what I learned is that because I don't feel the effect, it doesn't mean that it's not causing harm to my gut. So therefore, I decided to remove gluten from my diet as well. This means not eating noodles which are made of wheat. There are actually many alternatives to wheat noodles like rice noodles and mung beans noodles, sweet potato noodles and buckwheat noodles which are gluten-free. And therefore, I don't really miss wheat noodles. However, I do feel deprived not being able to eat simple snacks like biscuits. I did find some gluten-free snacks like rice crackers and popcorns and vegetable chips, but the gluten-free variety can be quite limited. Another thing that I found challenging is that I cannot eat prata anymore because it's made of wheat. However, I do discover dosai, which is made of rice and lentil and therefore is gluten-free. So dosai is not the same as prata, it does not have the chewiness to it. However, I do feel that it's a good substitute to prata for me. Being on a gluten-free diet also means that I have to swap out my regular likamki soy sauce because it contains wheat. I now use gluten-free soy sauce instead, or you can search for tamari. They are not as good as likamki, of course, but they are good enough substitute. The last category of food that I want to talk about are goitogenic foods. So goitogens are substances found in certain food that can interfere with thyroid functions. Cruciferous vegetables such as broccoli, cabbage, 小白菜, 菜心 are known to be goitogenic. This is the most controversial food group as there are conflicting opinions on whether goitogenic foods are good or bad for hyperthyroidism. Goitrogens are supposed to inhibit thyroid functions in producing thyroid hormones. If you think about it, it's supposed to be good for hyperthyroidism because we want less thyroid hormones. However, the relationship is not so straightforward. Some sources say that goitrogenic food is not so good for hyperthyroidism in the acute phase. For me, it's easy to give up cruciferous vegetables because there are many alternatives like lettuce, gourds, and beans. The one glucogenic food that I find hard to give up are soy products. I consume so much soy product. Soy milk, tofu, tempeh, edamame, everything. Soy is my main protein source as I find meat harder to handle and cook. I don't think I will give up soy in near future. So that's how I navigate Graves' disease diet. I'm not 100% compliant to what's supposed to be good for Graves' disease. Some people go for keto or paleo diet, which is not me. On this journey, I pay attention to foods that work or don't work for me and adjust my diet accordingly. If you are having Graves' disease too, I hope this is helpful. I wish you great health and vitality.